Yeah, why not?
Drapes, no lottery luck for your Kings. I mean, we figured, right?
Right, and this is the one year that, you know what, you really don't want the number one pick, because it doesn't have as much value. You can get a similar quality player at 8, 9, 10, and hopefully 13. And so I wasn't too heartbroken on
That's
this
what
one.
your buddy Jay said Friday.
Right.
He said, there's no consensus number one. That means the Kings will probably get the first pick.
Oh, right. Knowing the Kings' luck. But what they say about Atlanta, this is the first time they've won the lottery. And it's in this year. Of course, it's this year. And, if I'm Sacramento, I'm okay with the 13th spot. It's not like there's a Wembanyama up there or somebody like that, a deep draft or anything. I think this is an average draft, a C-plus draft. So whether you draft 1 or 10 or 20, you have just as good of a chance of getting a quality player, I think.
Yeah, I think the Kings, if they use the pick, there's a really, really good chance they can get a player that can help them.
Yeah.
But I just don't know what to expect. Are they going to pick somebody, or are they looking to package this? And it's possible they don't even know yet. But, I mean, everything's on the board, right? They could trade this pick.
I would say this, Whitey, and I'm going to just go on record. I'm not going to backtrack. This is going to be my take.
All right.
They need to trade this pick.
Really?
I do not want this pick to be made, because if this pick is made, that means whether it's Jeremy Grant, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, whoever it may be, that means those talks fell through. That means we're going to be stuck with a young talent who may develop into something, but it's a crapshoot. I think we're at the point now where the Kings need to get better, not through the draft, but through free agency and trades. And a lot of times you hear teams say, well, because of their cap situation, they need to have some young players on the team. And that may be true, even for the Kings, because of their cap situation. But the Kings aren't good enough to rely on young players. Like, whoever the Kings draft, are they really going to help you right now win a championship? Maybe your 7th guy, maybe your 8th guy. We still need high-level talent, upper-tier talent. And so that's why I'm hoping it's part of a package to bring in a Brandon Ingram or somebody of that ilk.
I hope they do use the pick. I don't disagree with you.
Really?
I don't disagree with you. I don't think they have the pieces to make that trade, especially when you look at other teams that are talking about making trades. And, Atlanta is maybe going to package Trae Young and the number 1 pick. I don't know how much interest there will be in that. But let's just say the Kings had any interest in that. I don't think they do, but just theoretically, every offer they would have to make to be competitive would start with Keegan, and they don't want to trade Keegan. So unless it's Zach LaVine, whom the Bulls want to get rid of, I think they're going to have a really hard time landing that guy.
See, now, Whitey, I just came back from vacation.
And LaVine might be
I'm in a good mood.
Uh-huh.
And you bringing me down already.
Why am I
You're
bringing
basically
you down?
telling me we don't have the pieces to go out there and get a Brandon Ingram or somebody
But
of
I
that.
don't know that that's necessarily that bad. So you're assuming you don't get that, you're in trouble. I mean, maybe.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I understand.
But you think we do have the pieces to get a LaVine or somebody like that?
I think LaVine you could get. Well, the way I'm looking at it, Drapes, if you're going to get one of those guys, it's a big name, there has to be motivation for the team with that guy to trade him. So we know LaVine, they want to trade him, right?
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant, that makes sense that they might want to spin him because, well, by the time he doesn't match their timeline. Ingram, we know New Orleans may trade him, but they're going to want something back. They're not tearing it down.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my guess is there's other teams that would be more competitive than the Kings when it came to a guy like Ingram. So for all the talk of, wow, they've got all these draft picks once they get the Atlanta thing figured out, there's other teams that have a lot more draft picks and I think a lot more spare parts.
So how do we improve this team then? If we're not going to get some of those upper echelon guys because the market is too saturated, there's too much competition, how do we improve this? Is this a slow burn that we're on right here? And maybe we shouldn't expect fireworks this offseason.
I think there could be some upside in drafting somebody that you like. And, obviously they've been scouting these guys for a long time. Maybe they look at it and go, we just don't like any of these guys. But if you do, you get some shooting. You got the mid-level. You also got that biannual, right?
Yeah. You got the biannual exception.
And then maybe you do go in and get if you can get Zach LaVine at a decent price because the Bulls want to move him, maybe you roll the dice on that, and maybe you do a couple of things in addition to that. I just don't see him getting like Ingram or, before you left, we were all having fun with Durant or Beal. Yeah. I just, it was fun to talk about, but I don't see how they could be in on something like that.
Brad Beal might be an option, though.
Really?
From Phoenix. And let me tell you why. Phoenix needs some depth. They're extremely top heavy. They need to balance out their roster. And, when you look at, they have to do something. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But a Harrison Barnes, a Kevin Huerter could help them out tremendously, I think, especially off the bench. Kevin Huerter coming off the bench, Harrison Barnes, a solid veteran. They need more depth pieces, from, they're top heavy. Their top five is, really good. But after that, it goes downhill. And so I think when I look at Phoenix, Devin Booker isn't going anywhere. He is not going to be traded. Kevin Durant, I can't see him moving off him. Brad Beal, even though he has that no trade clause, he would be the most obvious person to move off of. And if I'm Phoenix, I'm not asking for a king's ransom for Bradley Beal because he doesn't have that kind of value. They don't have any draft picks, first of all, so we could give them some picks. They don't have any depth. We can provide that. And so I think a Brad Beal might still be on the table. That's a lot of money. I understand that. But so is Zach LaVine. And so is all the guys we're talking about that are upper level guys that have some warts, that have some issues with them.
Does the 13th pick give the Kings a